Aston Villa 2, Newcastle United 0, in an utterly expected, dismal night, Saturday night for Newcastle United. Steve Bruce is now doing it his way by going back to the formation that's seen us win twice out of the last 23 games that we played, 5 at the back, including having our two best centre midfielders, one playing at centre half and then at right back, even though we've got two right backs on the bench, and the other on the bench, and seeing Jonjo Shelvey and Hendrick just not play for Newcastle in that game. That's basically what's happened. They were utter passengers, and shock horror, return to that formation has seen a return to, I say return as if it's been any different for a long time, but another absolutely terrible Newcastle United performance. What I'm confused about is forget about doing it his way. What was the plan or the setup or what even was the formation other than the 5 at the back? I genuinely do not know, and it's changed a number of times during the game with substitutions, moving players around. Shelvey and Almiron seem to be swapping sides, either side of Jeff Hendrick, over and over again, and achieving absolutely nothing by doing it. And it looked like, I don't know what the system was or what the plan was, but it didn't look like the players knew what the plan was or what the system was, which is a massive problem. But how can they when it changes like literally every single game? The players do not deserve any credit for what's happened today, of course, and they deserve a lot of criticism for the way things have gone recently. But I have some sympathy with all of them when they're playing a different formation time after time after time, and it said in the pre-match build-up that Newcastle have changed their system the most in the Premier League this season, and changed the personnel the most. In the Premier League this season, and all of the teams that are near us are top 4, top 6 teams that are rotating the squad because we've got more games playing in Europe, a better squad with better players, etc. But Newcastle have changed things the most, and I didn't count how many changes there was to the starting lineup today. But what kind of team are you building when it's changing constantly? And does it not make you think sometimes, Steve, that everyone else that's got a similar budget and squad to us is doing it totally differently? All of the successful teams over the years that have not been one of the current top 6 or previously one of the big 4 or before that, not Man United or Arsenal, have done it by being consistent, like getting consistent partnerships and consistent system, consistent formation. Consistency is absolutely key, and we just don't have it at all. So it's no surprise that Newcastle have capitulated once again in this game, playing probably 3 or 4 different formations tonight. A different formation to start the game, different players to start the game, and it's just utterly pathetic. The whole thing, everything that's happened at Newcastle was summed up by the defending for the 2 goals, which was pathetic once again. I don't even really know what to say about it. Everyone's seen the match. Everyone's seen the defending. It's not good enough. And when you're a team that can't attack, can't create, can't even think about creating, if you can't defend either, then you might as well not even turn up. And that's where we are now. And for me, that performance tonight across the pitch and across the squad has stunk of a team that is not playing for the manager anymore. There was no urgency. We go into the second half 2-0 down, and we come out and have virtually none of the ball. There's no pressure. There's no drive. There's no commitments. Jonjo Shelvey's put the first tackle of his career in against Jack Grealish with about 15 minutes to go when the game's over. Like, why is that not happening from the first moment of the second half? Why are the team not getting into them? Why are we not trying to change things around, to change the way the game's going? It's like they came out for that second half and carried on doing what they did in the first half, which was terrible, and had us 2-0 down. It's baffling, and I don't know how much of that falls at the manager, but when you've got the team in at half time, you have to be saying to them, get in them in the second half, get at them, get in their faces, try and win the ball back, because if we don't get the ball, we cannot score, and then we're going to lose. Now, ultimately, we haven't had a chance in the game. I think we had one shot on target, which was Almiron like passing it to them in the first half. I think we had 7 shots, all of which were terrible. Had a number of crosses, particularly in the first half, which were all absolutely dismal. No surprise that it's our fullbacks that are delivering the crosses, because we don't play any white players anymore, at least from the start. We didn't create anything at all, but it's not even that we're not creating anymore. We're not even getting in the position to create a chance anymore, and that's unforgivable for a Premier League team with players as good as we have in the squad. That is just unacceptable. Individually, I thought across the park we were abysmal. I've highlighted the 2 players in centre mid, and Shelby summed one of the things up perfectly by just not tracking his man for the second goal at all. He just disinterested, didn't care, didn't even think to look where he'd gone, let alone try and track or try and get into a decent position. He just stands still, and that happened across the park from a number of different players, not just John Joe Shelby. And what I'm curious about though is, like, does the manager even notice that that's happening? Because the same players are getting games. John Joe Shelby's played started the second game in a row. He did the same thing in the last game. Like, if I was the manager, I'd be talking to him about it tomorrow morning, or like now after the game, I'd be saying, John Joe, like, you haven't tracked your man, and if they've scored, why not? Why have you not done that? Show them the footage. Show Jeff Hendrick the footage of their players flooding the box, and our lads just standing still, doing absolutely nothing. Gets to 70 minutes and we finally make 2 subs. 70 minutes of that performance, of that deject, abject, dismal, disgusting forfeit of a performance. We let it stay the same for 70 minutes before making any changes. It's a forfeit. It's like we don't even want to try and win the game. And ultimately, I don't think that any other Premier League club, any other football club, any properly ran football club of any level would tolerate the level of performance that the manager is putting in at the minute. He's got the team wrong, completely wrong. He's got the system wrong. The players aren't playing for him. He doesn't know how to change it. He can't make any tactical subs. He doesn't know what to say afterwards. I refuse to watch him anymore. I never watch his press conferences because I get too angry and I have to read about them afterwards and then get angry later on at night and then kind of get to sleep, which is ridiculous. But that's what Newcastle United is doing to us at the minute. No other club would tolerate this. They would have just sacked the manager, because it's such an obvious solution to try and make things better. There's only 2 things that can happen now for Newcastle to get better this season. It's either change the players, which we can't afford to do. We have no money, and even if we did, we wouldn't spend it, or change the manager. One of those 2 things can happen, but won't happen, and that's a massive problem. We are sleepwalking towards relegation. Let's not beat around the bush here. We're the worst team in the league now by a mile. We lost against the previous worst team in the league comfortably, in Sheffield United. We are the worst team in the league. We actually don't look like getting another point, and we've got another game on Tuesday night against the Leeds side that put 5 past us last time we played in December. I just feel like there's no chance of us getting anything there. We've still got 7 points off the relegation zone, but we literally look like we will not win a single game for the rest of the season. I don't even think we'll draw. It's that bad. Newcastle United have to sack the manager, and it beggars belief that we aren't at the stage where it's happened already. It's so bad and it's so obvious, and it just becomes apparent again that it's not football people that are running the club, because anyone that's got any interest in football, that's spent even a small amount of time watching any sort of decent standard of football, any league football, even decent non-league football, will be able to see that what is happening on the pitch for Newcastle United is a disgrace, and it is never going to turn around if things keep happening that are the same. So they just have to sack the manager. He was incredibly lucky to get the job. But he's even luckier to have kept it for as long as he has. And I have no more words for it. Sack the manager tonight, and we might have a chance of staying in the league. If we don't, we're going to get relegated, and we won't be lucky enough to get back up again. There's not another Rafa Benitez to come and save the club. If we do sack the manager, we're going to have to settle for someone that's not very good, because we're a terrible club to work for. But it can't get any worse than it is now. I was texting one of my friends during the game there, who's not a Newcastle fan, he's a Leeds fan, funnily enough, and he said Bruce out, and I said, of course. And he said, who would you take as the next manager? And I said, tell me a name, and I promise you cannot give me a name that I wouldn't take as the next manager in Newcastle United. Things are that bad. Sack Steve Bruce.